Reveal gives you the option to use the custom query along with the setAdditionalHeadersProvider to pass information from the client to the server to create experiences like a custom search. In this case, I have a faceted search panel on the left-hand side of my page. The right-hand side has my dashboard. This dashboard is just the default dashboard view. It has all of the data. My search strings on the left panel are drop downs. They could be any custom component. You may want to do this because you have unique search experiences that you want to deliver. You want to use different UI components than are offered in the filter bar in Reveal, but the end result is the same. So for example, if I select France as the country and I apply the filters, what I did is I passed France as the customer country to the server. That got picked up in the user context provider, which was then used in a custom query to refresh the data for this dashboard. When you're doing a standard filter or you're using the filter API, it's achieving the same thing. We are actually going back to the server, requerying the data, and then refreshing the data in the dashboard. So this is just another approach. So in this case, if I do France and I want to know all of the sales managers in France that had sales, I'll apply my filter, and now I go back. That information's passed to the server. And here you can see that I have sales managers and I only have France as the data. I can clear my filters and I go back to my default. This is 100% custom code. It's all client code. If I look at what we did here in the client code, we are using the setAdditionalHeadersProvider, and I am passing in a filters object. So the filters object has customer country, salesperson title, shipper name, salesperson, and days to ship. If I scroll down, how are those getting populated? They're getting populated just like you would get any other HTML object. And when the filter button is applied, I populate my filters properties with those items. I make sure that they are in the headers that I want to pass to my setAdditionalHeadersProvider. And then calling refresh dashboard data will trigger a reload of all the data for this particular dashboard. I don't need to go ahead and reload it again. If we look at the server side, in the user context provider, in get user context, of course, we are picking up whatever's passed in that HTTP context, which is from the setAdditionalHeadersProvider on the client. I have my variables that I am pulling out of the object, the xFilters object that was passed from the client. I'm creating a dictionary object here with all of the key value pairs, and I am setting that as my user context. So where does that get used? Of course, in the life cycle of loading each visualization in Reveal, we go through the change data source item and the change data source. Well, here in the change data source item, I'm doing a custom query. So that particular dashboard was created using the table order summary. Order summary has all the fields that I needed to create that dashboard. So what I'm doing is I'm customizing what gets returned from that query. So in this case, I'm picking up the variables from the user context, a little something different here with the days to ship since it is an integer. And then I have a function called build where clause. So what is build where clause doing? It's picking up customer country, the title, the days to ship, shipper name, salesperson, etc. And it's going to append it to my custom query. Build where clause is where you would put all of the custom code that you need to ensure that you're getting the right variables in your query. So my field names and my variables are basically the same name as my fields in the database. So I can just do this matching here, and I'm building this out. If they're empty or they're zero, I don't want to include them. So when I hit refresh or I load my dashboard initially, all of these values are empty. So what happens is the where clause ends up being empty. So ultimately, I am just doing the select star from orders summary. Of course, this can be a stored procedure. You can escape this however you'd like in terms of your own custom queries, validating data, but that is the concept. I go from the client side where I am doing the set additional headers provider, which is the key to pass something to the server. That something gets picked up in the user context provider. I set those variables. I create a property dictionary object here with my key value pairs, and then those are used to build a where clause in my custom query. And what ends up happening is my dashboard will refresh based on anything that I set in my faceted search panel. So very simple, very straightforward to do. And this gives you an option to avoid using the default filters that we ship in the filter bar with Reveal, and you can use your own custom filter panel.